Hello and welcome. Let's begin day 2 of e-teaching. Remember to comment below so that way I can take attendance, or to send me an email, or to comment in Google Classroom so that way I can tell the administration that you were here and you were interacting with your e-learning. Some quick announcements. Friday is a professional development day for teachers, so no office hours then. And a quick reminder, you can write your assignments on a piece of paper and take a pic and send it my way, preferably through Google Classroom though. And a quick review. Last time, we talked about white-collar and blue-collar crimes, and you argued not necessarily the difference as written here, but you argued whether or not white-collar crime should be taken more seriously. What you can expect today is we're going to focus on how do we deter criminals, how do we deter crimes, how do we make sure people do not commit crimes. The pre-AP skill is evidence-based writing and a little bit of observation and analysis. Your objective is to write an evidence-based argument about whether we should focus on punishment or rehabilitation in the law system. Here's a question to ponder. Again, you don't need to write this down or answer it formally, but keep it in the back of your mind. Are the punishments in the American legal system too harsh? So think about that as we go through this slideshow. Purpose of prison. It's meant to be a deterrent or retribution. It's meant to be a horrible punishment so that way you won't commit crime. We protect society from you. It's a form of revenge, and it makes sure you change from the horrors you endure. So prison, it's not meant to be a pleasant place. It's meant to be prison's meant to be boring. It's meant to be horrible. It's meant to be painful. It's meant to be dangerous. It's meant to dehumanize you because it's a form of punishment. It's meant to tell people, hey, if you commit a crime, then you get this punishment. You've done such a bad thing in society that society needs to get rid of you. And it's supposed to cause you mental anguish. And the idea is that if you endure something so horrible, you will not want to go there. And so prison is not meant to coddle you. It's meant to be horrible. Some countries kind of use this concept and take it a little bit further. In some countries, if you steal, they cut your hands off. The idea behind that is the punishment is so harsh that you won't commit a crime. And that's the same idea with prison. The punishment is meant to be harsh so that way you won't commit the crime. And hopefully crime rates will lower as such. Now, is prison an effective deterrent? Does it actually cause less crime? Well, it depends, right? The consequences could be brutal. Mental health is destroyed. Your job prospects are pretty much gone. Your physical health will likely deteriorate as well. And these are all meant to be consequences, and ideally you should change because of that. But what the evidence shows is that within 8 years, 64% of criminals who are violent are likely to go back to prison for committing a violent crime, or 40% of people who committed a crime that is nonviolent are likely to repeat again. So, is prison an effective deterrent if the people who go there commit another crime again? Well, that is for you to decide with this information. Now, here are some other things I want you to consider, though. Overall, though, most crimes have decreased. But why? Is it due to prison effects being more available? Now that we know what the American prison system looks like, and your average person does that mean that they're less likely to commit a crime because they don't want to go to there? Back in the day, they used to have scared straight programs. They take you to prison, have prisoners yell at you, and show you the reality of how tough things were. But nowadays, through the media and the internet, you could see how horrible these prisons are, and so maybe people don't commit crimes because of that. Or are the crimes just not being reported? Keep in mind is that a lot of people don't trust the police anymore. And how can the police record a crime if people aren't reporting the crime to them? Also, private prisons. So private prisons are prisons that profit off of putting people in jail. The state hires them and they put the prisoners in there. Now, private prisons generally have a lower quality of life. They're actually a little bit harsher than most state prisons. And so are the private prisons being so horrible another deterrent for crimes and causing crimes to lower? Or is it the fact that private prisons are starting to close, and since they're closed, they're starting to release more people, and the people who got in there don't want to go back, so crime is being lowered? Or maybe people just have better lives now and choose not to commit crimes, or maybe people stay inside because of the internet or something. Not exactly sure. This is all for you to ponder. Now, the American legal system focuses on putting people in prison and punishing you, being so harsh you won't want to go back. Your life will be ruined if you go to prison. While other countries want to say, hey, if you make it to prison, we're going to make sure you don't go back to prison. So this is certainly more reactionary, right? This one here is supposed to be so harsh you'll never want to go there. This one is like, well, you're in here. Let's make sure that you're sane when you get out. And it's meant to reintegrate you back into society. So this one is focused on making you a better citizen after you broke the rules instead. So some things they do in this type of prison system, because you still go to prison in these rehabilitation-based prison systems. The difference is that they offer some form of mental health counseling. So you go in there, they give you therapy, they talk to you, have group sessions, try to get you right in your mind. Sometimes, some people just give you community service though. Now they don't send you to prison, they say, hey, you're going to work in the community for a few hundred hours, and after you do volunteer service, maybe you'll be a better person. Also, there are creative punishments, like there's this one criminal who, what they had to do is they had to donate some of their belongings to charity, or they had to go and make a certain amount of, shirts or hats for a charity. Or, and this one's too, this one implies you send them into prison. Educate them or give them opportunities. So when you send them to prison, you're not going to make their life harsh. Instead, you're going to put them through school and make sure that they get out better. Because maybe the whole reason they committed the crime was they didn't have opportunities, and so they felt the need to steal. Well, get them out of prison with a degree. Give them opportunities when they leave. Now, I think this is a good example of retribution versus rehabilitation. Now, these are extreme examples, of course, because rehabilitation doesn't always look like the Norwegian prison system, which we're going to cover. Again, rehabilitation can be mental health, going to mental health hospital, community service, educating them, creative punishment. Norway takes it to the extreme, as we'll see later. Russia, this is essentially a prison within a prison. So in order to get to this cell, which has 4 bunk beds that you could see, it's actually locked behind another cell, and there's another one that you can't see that's off camera, in order to get access to it. It's cramped, not much there. There's a bathroom you can't see off screen, and there's probably a TV, but we do not see it here. While here, this looks like a college dorm. A nice bed, a nice desk, a nice view outside, nice TV here. Looks like a board. That looks like Coca-Cola right there. And this man is certainly not dressed like a prisoner. Now, I want to show you guys an example of rehabilitation taken to the extreme. This is Norway, and within the past decade or so, they have been experimenting with treating prisoners humanely, and we're going to watch this video together, and, well, let's just see what it does. And I will stop it periodically.
The United States has more than 2.2 million adults locked up in its prisons and jails. That's only slightly smaller than the population of Houston, America's 4th largest city. Many of the inmates are repeat offenders, which raises the age-old question of what we want out of incarceration: punishment or rehabilitation so prisoners do not return. One Scandinavian country is using a unique approach to achieve the latter. As part of our week-long series here at NBC News looking at criminal justice reform, Kelly Kobiea travels to Norway for our Sunday Spotlight.
In this vast forest of pine and blueberry is what some call the world's most humane prison, Halden Prison, where new inmates are greeted the way I was, with a handshake.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Drug smugglers, murderers, rapists, all doing time in a maximum security prison that feels more like a college campus.
And one thing I want to point out, this is a maximum security prison. So one of the toughest prisons that's supposed to exist in Norway. This is maximum security, not minimum.
Home?
Yeah, this is home, yeah.
Karsten was convicted of killing a man in Brazil. This is his cell block with a full kitchen, big screen TV, laundry room.
You have a key to your own cell.
Yeah, everybody have their own key.
He and the rest of the prisoners are locked in overnight. The rest of the time, they choose when to lock the door to their cozy single-bed cells with a TV and a private bathroom.
I used to be in a prison in Brazil, and there was a cell just a little bit bigger than this, and there used to be 15 people in the same room.
The point here, to turn criminals into good neighbors.
Always have coffee on the go. Thank you.
Rehabilitation, says the prison governor, starts on day one.
So one thing I want to say is, again, they view it a little bit differently. You made a mistake, and we know that you're going to leave, and so when you get out of here, we want to make sure that you are a productive member of the community. That's one of the important tenets, or one of the important parts of rehabilitation-based prison systems.
Take the freedom from them, but when they are here, we try to help them to get a better citizens.
Inmates have a normal work week, giving them routine and responsibilities, training to be car mechanics and graphic designers in a state-of-the-art studio.
From the city hall, we're getting jobs from them.
Learning skills like restaurant prep, where they're trusted to handle knives, can help them get jobs on the outside. They have weekends off and a house available for overnight visits with their families.
Welcome to Criminal Records.
Thank you.
Richard is studying music. He's doing time for murder and served his first 4 years in a Swedish prison.
I was very hateful myself when I came here, because I come from a very, very hard prison system. They really hate the guards, and the guard hated us. Do I feel like a different person now? Yeah, I do.
Here, guards and tutors work side by side with inmates, playing chess or simply going for a walk. It's all about building relationships and trust, even with the prison boss.
You look so happy.
It's an inmate who painted it.
There are cameras and locks, but no weapons, and nearly half of the guards are women.
But do you feel safe?
Yes, I do.
Why?
Well, I mean, we get to know all the prisoners pretty well. We interact a bit. We're with them all the time.
Norway's model isn't cheap. $93,000 per inmate per year, 3 times more than in the U.S. But only 20% of inmates re-offend after 2 years. In the U.S., it's 60%. There's no death penalty, and life sentences were banned in 1981. Even mass murderer Andres Breivik, who killed 77 people in a 2011 attack, was given a maximum sentence of 21 years, though that is extendable. Conservative critics say Norway has gone too far.
What about the victims who actually has this feel really injustice that the people who commit this crime can actually live in this luxury?
But if someone were to say to you, wow, this looks like a pretty luxurious lifestyle.
Most of us aren't going to see it outside for a long time, outside the wall.
But these men admit they've been helped here.
So before he talks about how he was being helped, I want to point out, word 405, is that even when you have a criminal of this magnitude, right, 70 people, he still gets sent to that type of prison. And to some people, such as this critic here, he tends to believe that prison is meant to be retribution, is meant to be a form of punishment to this man, and is meant to be help for the families of the victims, that man should be punished for killing 70 people. And so that's, again, a different thought between the two prison systems. But let's see how this man was helped.
But these men admit they've been helped here.
Before I think more like a criminal, but now I start to think more like a normal guy,
If you treat an inmate like an animal, he'd be an animal. if you treat an inmate with respect, he'll respect you back. He is a human being. Yeah, we treat them like human beings.
Lessons many here believe could extend beyond these prison walls. For Sunday Today, Kelly Kobieya, Halden Prison, Norway.
Kelly, thank you very much. You can see more in-depth reporting in our Justice...
Right. And so that is an example of an extreme prison, right? That's one of the most humane prisons in the world. And just to give some context to this too, is that if you scroll down, you'll see quite a number of different comments and opinions here. And I think this first comment, there's a huge difference between how you made in a hotel. People are ignoring the fact it's actually working. That should be only for minor offenders, not major offenders. This person said the prison's better than their homes. They're saying they should let homeless people live there instead of criminals. People are saying treating them with respect. This one's saying that they're going to go to Norway just to get arrested here. The maximum sentence is 21 years, but your sentence can be extended. So the comments there kind of embody this debate. Some are saying, good, it works. There's not many people reoffending, 20% compared to the United States, 60%, 1 in 5. They become productive citizens again. Some are saying it doesn't provide justice for the victims of the murderers. The victims in this case not being the person who was murdered, but being the families of the victim who was murdered. So it provides them a sense of justice that these people will never do it again. And some are saying it might encourage people to commit more crimes, right? If you have a bad life, well, time to commit a crime and get sent to this prison so that way you come out a better human being. So again, those are the different thoughts behind prison. Should it be punishment or should it be rehabilitation? And now there are two articles that you have for this week. The first one is a Debateopedia one, where people here state their opinion on rehabilitation more than retribution. So is rehabilitation more just objective than retribution? Does that mean that we should focus on rehabilitation? Is that considered more moral or better than focusing on punishment? Does rehabilitation better account for circumstances of the offender? So this is the idea that people don't necessarily commit crimes because they just felt like it, but due to circumstances, they were pushed into crimes. And then we can go down. One thing I do want to point out is that these do have citations, or at least the pro side has citations. Con side does not have citations, so that might tell you about the quality of the evidence. And this one here, it just tells you a quick summary of rehabilitation and punishment. So, a summary, and these are essentially the difference, retribution or punishment-based. In a retribution-based system, a choice people make willingly and usually. So crime is a choice people make willingly and usually, and you must be punished for your bad choice, and that punishment will be retribution for the people harmed. It'll be so bad you won't want to commit a crime. So that's the idea behind those type of prison systems there, is that you chose to commit this crime under most circumstances, unless maybe you're an accomplice, but even then you still chose it according to certain circumstances. You chose to commit this crime, and this here is going to stop you. So if you decide, hey, I want to murder this guy or steal, but then you remember, oh wait, prison, you won't commit the crime. Rehabilitation tends to treat the crime more as a circumstance. Yeah, you committed a mistake, maybe due to your living conditions. So we'll make sure you can do better when you get out and be a good neighbor, not cause more harm when you get out. You'll do so well you won't want to commit a crime. Essentially what this system is stating is that crime is a result of circumstance, is that maybe you couldn't control your mental state very well and committed a crime in the heat of the moment. Maybe you grew up extremely poor and you felt that the only way you could make ends eat was by stealing and getting some money. So it treats it as a circumstance of condition, and they try to make sure that when you get out, because you will get out under most circumstances, that people aren't afraid to be around you, that you will be a productive member of society, that you won't have your life ruined, that when you get out, you might have a degree. You might have certain skills that you didn't have before. And so these are the two essentially different thoughts behind a retribution-based prison and a rehabilitation-based prison. Hey, if there's a sudden shift in audio, it's because the sound stopped working and I had to restart my computer. As you can see, no more tabs up here. So do adjust based on the audio. Classwork. It is due 4/20, nice, at 9 a.m. And your question is, should we focus on punishment or rehabilitation in the law system? So should we focus on a law system that's retribution-based, where we try to do so harsh a punishment you'll never go to jail, and if you go to jail, your life will be ruined? Or should it be rehabilitation-based, where it's like, yeah, you made a mistake, and you get out of prison, we're going to make sure you're a better person for it. It doesn't matter whether or not you jaywalked or you murdered somebody, we're going to make sure you're a good neighbor when you come on out. And I want you guys to write 2 evidence-based paragraphs that address counter-arguments. You can get your evidence from the article or the video. If you use other evidence, then please cite it in your paragraph. So, counter-arguments. Let's say that you want a rehabilitation-based prison, and you're like, dang it, where am I going to get counter-arguments from? Well, luckily, boom, right over here on the no side, here are a bunch of counter-arguments to what you believe. Or, let's say you believe in a more punishment-based system or a retribution-based, you use this side, and then boom, the yes side, that is going to be the counter-arguments to your argument. So those could be provided for you. And of course, you could cite them and quote them as evidence here. And remember, the evidence here is based off the 2 websites I gave you and the video. If you choose to use a different website or resource, do cite it in your paragraph. And this assignment is worth double. 2 paragraphs, so it's worth double, which means it'll be worth 40 points instead of 20 points. Your paragraph form will be Melkrend, the same as last time. Main idea, evidence, link, counter-argument, refutation, then end the paragraph. And right here is it broken down. You may use this graphic organizer to write your paragraph. If you need help writing it, please refer to your last video, or I might make another video and just link it in the title card. And let's see. Cool. Due 4/20 at 9 a.m. If you have any questions, please ask me. Otherwise, have a great day. Make good choices. Stay safe and stay healthy. Bye-bye.